You've always known, haven't you? That moment when you first realized other people's minds didn't work like yours, when you casually mentioned replaying a 3-second interaction from 2018 and saw their confused smile, that was the day you learned to lie. To say, "I'm fine," when your mind was tearing apart every syllable of that text message from Tuesday. To pretend you weren't mentally rewriting the script of your entire life at 2 a.m. while they slept soundly beside you. While the world dreams, you're trapped in the labyrinth of your own making, retracing steps that don't exist, rehearsing conversations that will never happen, solving problems that live only in the shadowy corners of your synapses. The ceiling cracks aren't just cracks to you. They're maps of all the ways things could break. The silence between songs isn't empty. It's filled with every unspoken word you wish you'd said. You've tried to explain it, haven't you? That crushing weight of awareness. How a single glance across a dinner table can unfold into an epic tragedy in your mind. How you can taste the bitterness of regret for mistakes you haven't even made yet. But their eyes always glaze over by the third sentence. You think too much, they say, as if thinking were a faucet you could simply turn off. As if your mind weren't a raging storm they could never survive. Here's the truth they'll never understand. Your mind isn't broken. Theirs is asleep. While they skim the surface of existence like stones across a pond, you're drowning in the depths they refuse to acknowledge. That constant hum of analysis, that's your mind translating reality at a resolution they can't comprehend. The sleepless nights? That's your consciousness refusing to accept the easy lies everyone else swallows whole. This is your curse. To see the stitches holding reality together. To notice the slight tremor in a liar's pinky finger. To instinctively know which friendships will decay years before the rot becomes visible to others. This is your gift. To anticipate every possible ending before the first act concludes. To find meaning in the meaningless. To love so deeply it terrifies normal people. They call it overthinking because they need a word for what frightens them. But you know the truth. This isn't excessive thought. It's complete awareness. The full spectrum of human experience that others filter out. The unbearable weight of seeing clearly in a world that prefers the comfort of blur. Chapter 1. The isolation of seeing too much. Normal people move through life like sleepwalkers. They hear words, but not the tremble of hesitation that betrays a lie. They watch movies, but never catch the director's hidden message in the fourth frame of the third act. They laugh at offhand comments, oblivious to the buried pain laced between syllables. They fall asleep easily, never once questioning whether their entire existence might just be cosmic coincidence, or if there's some grand pattern hidden in the chaos. But you hear the unspoken words between the words. You see the ghost of someone's true intentions flicker behind their eyes for just half a second, and it haunts you for weeks. You dissect every good morning text, measuring the milliseconds between responses, analyzing punctuation like it's a secret code. While others float through their days on autopilot, you're drowning in the unbearable weight of seeing everything. And the cruelest part, when you try to explain why you're staring blankly at a wall for the third hour, they say you're overreacting. When you point out the pattern no one else sees, they call you paranoid. When you stay up until dawn, chasing some elusive truth in your thoughts, they tell you to just relax. They'll never understand that relaxing would mean turning off the most alive part of yourself, that quieting your mind would be like blindfolding the only person in a room who can see the fire spreading across the ceiling. Chapter 2. The secret strength no one acknowledges. They slap labels on you like overthinker and too sensitive because they need to pathologize what they can't comprehend. But let me ask you this. When the chess grandmaster anticipates 15 moves ahead, do they call it anxiety? When the detective notices the killer's tell before the crime, do they call it paranoia? When the poet reads the universe between someone's shaky breaths, do they call it delusion? No, they call it genius. Your mind doesn't overthink, it pre-thinks. While others are reacting, you've already mapped every possible outcome of this conversation before the first syllable leaves your lips, felt the shift in someone's energy before their mood changes, spotted the fatal flaw in the plan that won't collapse until next Thursday. This isn't disorder, it's precognition. Not magic, but the raw computational power of a mind that refuses to accept reality at face value. The world calls it a curse, because they can't handle the truth you see so clearly. That most people are blindfolded children swinging at piñatas in the dark. Meanwhile, you're standing there with X-ray vision, watching the candy fall before the first hit lands. But here's the tragedy no one warns you about. Vision is isolating. The sharper your sight, the fewer who can follow where you're looking. The deeper you dive, the emptier the water becomes, until one day you realize you don't just see through illusions, you see through everything. And that is the loneliest revelation of all. Chapter 3. How to survive in a world that doesn't get you. Listen carefully, because no one else will tell you this. Your mind is not a burden to carry, it's a blade to wield. But first you need to learn how to grip it without cutting yourself. Rule 1. Stop shrinking your thoughts to fit small minds. When they roll their eyes at your over-analysis, remember architects don't apologize for calculating load-bearing walls. When they tell you to live in the moment, remind yourself, firefighters train for years so they can think clearly when everyone else panics. Rule 2. Hunt your kindred in the wild. The ones whose eyes don't glaze over when you explain the symbolism in that random street sign. The ones who send you articles at 3 a.m. with the subject line, "This is what we were talking about." When you find them, hold on like a life raft in open ocean, because that's exactly what they are. Rule 3. Forge your chaos into something solid. Those sleepless night epiphanies into stories only you could write. Channel the 47 drafts of that unsent text into art that stings like truth. Build what your overthinking designs. Because ideas are ghosts until you give them bones. This is your manifesto. The world needs people who see through the bullshit, who spot the cracks before the foundation crumbles, who care enough to obsess over details everyone else ignores. So, stop waiting for permission to think deeply. The right people won't ask you to dilute yourself. The right path won't force you to pretend you're simple. The moment you stop apologizing for the way your mind works is the moment you become dangerous in the best possible way.